Hi, welcome to Psychic Tapestry. I'm Ken Kessler, and she is Lisa Kessler. Lisa, thank you for joining
Hi,
us.
thank you for having me.
For those who don't know or don't remember, Lisa is an intuitive light worker, national speaker, metaphysical teacher, and coach, and best-selling author, and host of the Metaphysical Manifesting podcast. And wow, that's a lot of stuff.
Lots of hats.
Yeah, lots of hats. Well, many of the hats are sort of similar. Not to
Yeah.
take anything away. Not to take anything away. I wanted to have Lisa on because she's doing something really cool through the end of this month being January. And I wanted to talk about it. And I also wanted you to get sort of a demonstration so so you would want this kind of reading, but also so you'd know what it really entails. So I guess let's start with the year ahead reading. What is it?
Well, I do them every year in December. It starts December 1st to January 31st, and we pull 12 cards. The intention is always what's going to be the energy of that month for you in this year 2026. And we use oracle cards for that so that you, in the end, get a picture of your grid so that every month of the year you can open it up, save it in your favorites on your phone, open it up, and then you can go, oh, in February, I'm focusing on trust or forgiveness or whatever comes up in your reading. And it's a great map for the year to be sure that you are on your path, that you are growing, you are transforming, and it's very helpful. It's also the cornerstone of my metaphysical manifesting one-on-one coaching. We always start with that year ahead framework. And every month when we meet, we talk about, this is the energy of this month. What are your goals for this month? What are we doing so that we can stay in that spiritual path for the year? And it has helped so many people manifest incredible things. And we look at their year and we're like, whoa, look at the, oh my gosh, that's what that meant, and it's fun to just at least have a guideline for what's coming. And you also get a mantra for the year that you read to yourself once a week. And those are very transformative as well to help you stay on track with what your theme is for the year.
Do you happen to recall what your mantra? You've done one of these for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you remember what yours was for 2025?
For 2025, what my mantra was?
Yes.
Oh, painfully, yes. My mantra for 2025 was the tower. But but I use the good tarot for the mantras, and it is a very gentle deck. And so even the mantra for the tower was not like that scary. It was like, oh, you'll have a surprise and epiphanies, and if you remain present, you'll be able to find new paths and transformation. So it made it very positive. And the tower card doesn't have to be a big scary card. It is transformation, but it is usually thrust upon you, and so it can be scary. But I did have a big year in 2025. My daughter got married. I started writing for a monthly column for Best Holistic Life magazine. My tarot deck and my Practical Tarot Method book both came out in 2025, which really my business grew a lot from that. So it really was a big change kind of year. But it wasn't scary big change. It was good big change. So the tower was fine, but I'm really excited about my new mantra for 2026. So
And what is that?
it is the Three of Wands, so Three of Fire, and it's about, that you're on your path to success and let's go, let's do the things. And so anyway, so that was a wonderful switch from who knows what's coming, but it'll be a surprise. Um, so
Um, isn't it kind of tricky to read for yourself?
Well, it would be if I pulled the cards for myself, because when we pull for ourselves, we want things. But I always use my pendulum for my primary guide, Morgan. She does most of my card pulling, and she'll be pulling your cards too. But that way I get a clearer message from spirit, from the universe, what my spirit guides and angels think I need to know more than what I want. That makes sense.
My mantra for last year was the Fool.
Ah, leaps of faith, Ken.
And because you know me pretty well and you know what my last year has been like, what can you point to, or what do you think in the last year sort of goes along with this mantra?
Well, for you, because you are a Virgo and you like to have everything planned out and you like to know things, I think that for you, this year or last year was a lot of having to just believe and take faith and move forward, because we did have I took that trip to Chicago for the dress fitting, and that was expensive, and we also had the wedding, which was expensive, and you also had to launch your station while you were in Savannah at the wedding for the Christmas station. So you had a lot of things that would make your Virgo-ness go, oh my God, no, I can't, and freeze. But you just kept moving forward and you kept trusting that everything was going to be okay. You don't know how, but it's going to be okay. And then you connected on another client with more podcasts, and that was a step too. And you embraced it. And I know that that's because I know you, I know that that's kind of hard for you sometimes because you like to know everything. So,
I do. That's definitely part of the Virgo in me, that I do like to know everything and have it, as you said, and have it planned out. And I know that you're supposed to give it over to the universe and you don't have to know how things are going to unfold, but I want to know, how is this going? How is this possibly going to work?
but I
And
think better last year at not, you know.
I did, but part of it is that, and maybe this is something you can help me with right here on this episode. Part of it is not just the Virgo in me wanting to know how this can possibly happen, but I know in a lot of the things that I've read and videos I've watched and people who I've had on this podcast and conversations I've had with you talk about making steps yourself so that, and then the universe steps in. So when I don't know how something is going to happen, and I hear, we'll just turn it over to the universe, you don't have to know. And I feel like, well, I do have to know because I have to take some steps in that direction so the universe can help me. And without knowing, that's where the fool really comes in, because it is a leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I guess that's my
Well,
dilemma.
for funsies, your mantra for last year, maybe this will resonate with you now that you have walked through your whole year, but it says, I know that a spiritual approach rarely appears logical. That is hard for a Virgo, and
Yes.
sometimes even seems impractical. However, when this card appears, I can take a risk and trust that with faith, anything is possible. The invisible realms will reveal each step along the way. I am meant to experience this regardless of where I travel. This is a time when I am learning that I am a spiritual being having a human experience. And I think that a lot of that mantra is kind of what you discovered during going through 2025.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Um, for for anybody who's listening to this and thinking, well, year ahead reading sounds interesting, and I want to know a little more, one thing I can tell you is that these are only available through the end of January.
Mhm.
And why is that?
Because when I very first started doing year ahead readings, I didn't have that window. It could be you could order a year ahead reading anytime. But in my experience, every time we did that, it was confusing for me. It was confusing for them. Your grid didn't make any sense. You had to keep track of which which month is in which spot, and it wasn't very intuitive. And the whole point of having a year ahead reading to give you focus is that it is intuitive. So um, I quickly realized this isn't working. It has to just be December to January because your grid always begins with January and ends with December. And I like to look over a whole grid when it's laid out to kind of get a feeling for when I'm reading for people of, summer, you should slow down, or whatever I'm seeing in the cards. And when the months are all not in that order, it doesn't flow properly for me as a reader. So I just feel like they're not as helpful. So I closed the window to just be December 1st to January 31st. And I'm very busy with readings during that time. The spots always sell out every year. But for me, I think that that is more useful to the person. And also I can be more intuitive with it as well. So I still do regular tarot readings all year long, but year aheads are just December 1st to January 31st.
You mentioned a couple times the grid that you
Yes.
use. Can you sort of explain what that is?
Yeah, because we're pulling 12 cards, one for each month of the year. The grid is just your 12 cards. So there's three rows of four cards. So, so that's your grid. So when you start, you see January and you just go across and down to the next row. And so anyway, it makes it much easier to be able to kind of get a visual of your whole year.
And I I know you well enough that I know the answer to some questions I ask you, but I have to ask anyway.
Okay.
What kinds of decks do you use?
I use Oracle decks for the months of the year simply because they have words on the cards and people take pretty good notes usually when I give them the reading. But, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months down the road, you may lose your notes or whatever. And you can look at Oracle cards and make the picture big on your phone and read, it says leadership and take chances and say yes. And so there's words on there. So if you lose your notes during the year, your reading will still be helpful because there's words right on the cards. So we use Oracle cards for that. And then, like I said, the good tarot for the mantra for the year.
How many decks do you have?
I don't know.
Ballpark.
I,
Ballpark.
I don't know. It's embarrassing.
Oh, it's not embarrassing.
I don't know. There's probably a good chance that right now I have over 50.
And I'm not asking that to put you on the spot or make you feel self-conscious about it. When someone gets a year ahead reading from you, they get to pick
Yes.
the deck.
Yes, I usually filter based on the person and how I feel and I don't know. When I have an appointment coming up, I know that my guides, Morgan and my team are connecting with your team. So usually I filter it down to about six that they can choose from. And I also throw out others. If none of those six really work for you, I start throwing out some other decks. But I don't want to overwhelm anyone. It's overwhelming when somebody goes, okay, here's 25 decks. Which one? So anyway, so I narrow it down usually, and then you get to make the final pick.
And we're gonna do one for me momentarily, and I wanted to do that so anybody listening who's thinking about getting a year ahead reading, you get a real demonstration of what it is. Lisa gave a pretty good explanation of what it is, but hearing the reading as it's happening, I think takes it to another level. And and I'll try not to cry if all of my cards are tower related. I know it's oracle cards for the 12 months, so those won't be tower, 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 but there can be
There can
similar.
be challenges during your year,
Yes, there
but
can
it's
be
always,
challenges.
as a Virgo, you should appreciate having, warning that, oh, this month perhaps I don't make any big decisions.
Yes, and I need to run away and hide for that month. Um, when I was picking a deck, I wasn't really sure, so I I asked my primary guide Parker to pick it, and I didn't happen to have his pendulum on me, so I used my keys, which started to spin and picked out the deck, and I already forgot which deck I chose or
You
which
chose
deck
the
Parker
wisdom
picked.
wisdom of Avalon.
Okay. And what do you? I didn't pick one for the mantra. Do you pick that?
Always the good tarot. The
Oh, it's
good
always.
tarot I use for the mantra because she actually wrote mantras in first person for every card of the tarot deck. And I find that that's really useful. I use it for myself too. And because she makes all of the mantras gentle, even I got the tower last year and I read it religiously once a week and got through my entire year. So um, it's the good tarot for the mantra.
And I have to admit, I was a bad boy and I did not read mine every week, but I did refer back to it often throughout the year. And I say that not to say that it's not just a confession of my sins. It's that,
I wasn't going to out you, but
well,
you
I wanted to say it so that anybody who's listening doesn't feel like this becomes a weekly thing and maybe that's too big. And that's the goal that you should set of looking at this every week. But if a week goes by and for whatever reason you don't look at it, it doesn't mean that the whole thing is worthless. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that you were probably busy,
yes.
and that's okay. And I just wanted to mention that. Um, so not just to sort of let me off the hook, but just to say that
For
that's how
any
it
other
is.
Virgos out there who think that if it's not done perfectly, then it's ruined,
Well,
it's not ruined.
I
It'll be
think there's
okay.
an element to that that a lot of people who come to a spiritual path feel like there's certain ways that you're supposed to do things. And what I have found, and I do not claim to be an expert in anything really, but what I have found is that it's not always the same for everybody. And that doesn't mean that I'm right and you're wrong, or you're right and I'm wrong. You have to figure out what works best for you. And if you get this reading from Lisa and you look at the mantra every other week, it doesn't mean you're bad or that you're doing it wrong. If that feels right to you, and I'm not trying to change the way she does things because she'll yell at me later. I'm just saying that that's true really for any reading. If you get a reading and they turn over a card and they tell you that this is the what they're getting and you get something different, that's valid and that counts. And I just wanted to say that. The other thing I want to mention as we get into the reading here is that this is the first time we're putting actual video up on YouTube. Usually, our podcast is there, but it's just the static image of our logo, just like it is on all the other podcasting sites. But I wanted everybody to be able to see the cards that Lisa pulls for me so you get a better idea. And after I made that decision, I realized that, wow, because Lisa is such a professional, she has a very nice background up behind her. And I have the back of my office where you can see a whole bunch of U-Haul boxes and the top of the oh, what's the exercise? The
Treadmill, the walking.
treadmill. Yeah. You can see the top of the treadmill. You can see bookcases of CDs on one side of me, and you can see all kinds of crap in the closet behind me. And you can also see just how dirty my glasses are. And with all of that said, if you would like to see the reading and see the cards, I suggest that you hop on over to our YouTube channel and check it out. And I'll put a link to that down in the show notes as well. I'll also, well, I'll tell you the rest later. But I'm ready to start. Is there anything that I need to do?
N no, I'm just going to shuffle and then I will have Morgan draw the cards. And I showed you the pendulum at the beginning, but basically the way it works is that my guide is connecting with your guides because your guides and angels know, what's coming for you and what they want you to know. That's how it all gets picked. So Morgan is spinning and we're going to pull for the year. So anyway, this is the boring short part where Morgan is pulling cards for you. And normally, if I didn't know you, I would ask for your power months, birthday, anniversary, things like that. I don't know that that really makes a difference because Morgan's connected with your guides and they certainly know, but it's fun for me to know. But I already know what yours are, July and August. So so you can just awkwardly sit there while I pull all these cards and hold your breath, hoping that they're all prosperity, abundance, good health. Woo!
Yes, that'd be great. Meanwhile, people at home can watch me having a little something to drink.
With all your boxes.
Yes, me and all my boxes.
You could probably tell everyone that when we moved, one of our bookcases died in the move. So that's why he has all those boxes of books behind him. It's not because Ken is moving out. At least not as far as I know.
Not as far as I know either. We'll see what the cards say.
All right. She has pulled all 12. I'm getting your grid all together here. All right. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, here we go. January. Oh, January is the butterfly. That is perfect for the beginning of the year. It also says beauty on there. Butterflies always represent a beautiful transformation. And in January is a great time for you to decide what beautiful thing do I want to unfold in 2026? Because we co create with the universe. It is not going to decide for you what is going to unfold in your year. You have to. So in January, it's a really good time to give it some thought and really think about what beautiful thing do I want to transform into in 2026? What part of my life do I want to transform? All that kind of thing. Start thinking about that in January because you're setting the tone for your entire year. Make sense?
I think so.
Okay. When you're manifesting, you decide what you want and why you want it. The universe is going to decide how and when. But if you don't tell the universe what you want, you just manifest more of what you already got. So, give it some thought in January. It's worth it.
Okay.
All right. February. Yay. February is all the joy. And I love in this deck, you'll notice there's a symbol up at the top. And if you look in the picture, you can find it. And the point of that, for me anyway, as a reader, is that joy is everywhere, but you have to be looking for it. Joy doesn't come out and hit you with a bat. You have to decide to participate. So look for joy in February. Find the joy in every moment. Sometimes even sucky moments have joy in them if you are present enough to find it. And you can see that the symbol for joy is carved in that rock. You see
Okay.
it? You see it? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So February, all the joy.
I don't like that you were somehow guided to mention that even in the sucky moments, because that makes me wonder.
Nah, it's going to be full of joy
Okay.
because you're going to set the tone in January. Tell the universe you want a joyful year.
I want no
All right.
sucky moments.
No,
No?
Don't cling to that. I'm just sharing that
Okay.
that joy is everywhere. All right. March. Ooh, March is the horse, and we're in the year of the horse. So you are really going to be in the flow of the universe in March. And this one also says accepting help from another and delegating authority. Horses always run in herds. And it's funny, we talk about, a car has horsepower and how many horses and all that kind of thing. It's not just one horse. So in March, you may need to work with other people or ask someone for help or call on a team or something like that. So look for ways that you can partner up with people in March. It doesn't have to be only Ken. Make sense?
It does. I think that will be a
Okay.
challenge.
I know. Okay. April. Yay, April, here comes abundance, the cow. Anytime that you see a cow on tarot and oracle cards, it's always about your health, your money. It's that material abundance. Cows take care of you, milk, cheese, butter, meat, everything. So anyway, it's abundance and prosperity. This one says nourishment, abundance, asking and receiving. So anyway, I think if you're willing to step into the flow and work with people, it immediately pays off in April with some
Okay.
abundance.
That's good to know.
Love that for you. Okay, May. May is the Merlin, and you can see his giant dragon right over there. And dragons always represent your inner strength, your inner dragon. And the Merlin is alchemy, justice, and balance. But the idea of the Merlin is that you are the Merlin. You are making the magic, right? So when you have this abundant month in April, in May, it might be time to, regroup and figure out, gosh, what do I want to manifest now? Because I'm magic, right? Um, and also, I just always notice the numbers on the cards, and it's number one. It's the beginning of the deck. And so, anyway, in May, I feel like in April, you're going to manifest something that maybe is part of what you were planning in January. So, in May, you're going to regroup and become the magician again. Figure out, what do I want the rest of the year? Make sense?
I think so.
Okay.
Let me stop you here.
Yes.
Um, because we've gone through 5 months so far,
Right.
and it can be a little confusing to try and remember all of this. And I don't
Well,
I,
you're not taking notes like most of my
know. I know.
clients taking notes.
But do you send video or pictures or
Yes,
okay.
they get a whole picture of their grid that you get in your email after the meeting. And it has all of your cards, has the words on all the cards, and you save it in your favorites on your phone and look at it once a month and go, oh, yeah, this is the month when I'm going to be the horse and find my herd.
Okay. Okay. I thought I would ask because we've gotten five and I'm not sure how many more I can remember in the right order, all that
Yeah,
kind of
they'll
thing.
be in
So it would be
order. Yeah, you get a picture of your grid in order, and
okay.
so you can refer to it every month or whenever you want, all the time if you want.
Okay. I'll
All
try
right.
not to interrupt again, but
Okay, so June, halfway through the year, is the deer. And the deer always, usually, if you see a buck with all the antlers on a card, that's leadership. But a doe, a deer, is all about uh, working kindly with others, diplomacy, being gentle. This one said, oh, this one says gentleness and diplomacy. Go me.
oh,
Funny. Um, but June, so June, be a gentle deer as you're going through things. And probably since you had this magical Merlin and you're feeling all powerful, because in April you just manifested that, the universe is going to remind you in June. let's be gentle about this. We don't manifest with big army boots on. We allow for things to unfold. So be diplomatic with others and more gentle in how you approach the rest of the year.
Okay.
All right. And then July, which is our anniversary month. Ooh, you got the frog. And frogs are very adaptable. Whenever you see frogs on tarot and oracle cards, remember that they can live on land, in water. They're everywhere, especially here in Florida. So it's about being adaptable and, maybe clearing out what's no longer serving you. What does this say? This says cleaning house and releasing emotional baggage. So maybe in July, it's a good time for you to get another bookcase and get those boxes out of your office. But but July might be a good time for that. So anyway, but it's a good time for you to be adaptable and change things up.
Okay.
Then August, birthday. Oh, birthday is the cat. Cats always represent healthy boundaries. When you think about if you are listening and you have ever had a cat or known someone who had a cat, cats have really good boundaries. Cats will let you know that you can pet me 4 times and then I bite your hand. Um, cats, you can go here, kitty, kitty, and the cat can look at you and the cat can look where they were going. And sometimes they go, might be nice to have a scratch and they'll come over. And other times they don't even apologize. They're like, no, I was going over here. Um, so whenever you see a cat on cards, it's calling you to have healthy boundaries. And too often we think that means with everyone else, but often it's with ourselves. So in August, re-examine where you're trying to go and maybe where you're tripping up and figure out where you might need a better boundary. Maybe you need more sleep. Maybe you need to get up and move more. Maybe, so don't just think that, oh, I need to tell so and so that they can't call me on Tuesdays. It can be that, but oftentimes it's boundaries for ourselves. This says independence and healthy boundaries. Cats
Okay.
are also very independent. All right. September, you ready? Focus, Ken, focus. And this is funny because as an insider, September, Ken is getting real busy with his Christmas station and he is
Yes.
behind the scenes. In September, he's putting out Halloween music playlists and he's working on Christmas stuff and advertisers and woo. So in September, you already know that you'll be focused, but the universe is also telling you that you will be able to focus, which is nice.
That
Um,
is nice.
You'll also notice on this card, the symbol there is an arrow hitting the bullseye, but it's not a bullseye up there. Here it is right here on the path. So don't get sidetracked or distracted. Stay focused on your path and keep moving forward. Make sense?
Makes sense. Easier said than done, but
Yeah,
that's probably true for a lot of these cards.
but the energy of the month is going to be leaning that way. So you should be encouraged that you're going to have the focus that
Okay.
you're going to need. Make sense?
I think so.
Okay. October. Ooh, a power card. The High Priestess. And the High Priestess, just like in tarot, is a call to reconnect with the universe itself. And October, the veil is very thin. So in October, even though you're busy, make time to reconnect with your spirit guides, pick up a pendulum, pull some tarot cards, because the universe wants to tell you things. It wants to communicate. But if you're I know you have busy brain anyway, but just take a moment in October and reconnect. This says prophecy, vision. You can't have any of that if your brain isn't quiet enough for it. So maybe in October, when you see this card, you're going to go, okay, I'm super busy, but for 10 minutes, I'm just going to meditate. So make time for it because there are messages the universe is trying to get you.
I'll see if I can figure out how to carve out 10 minutes in October.
I believe in you. I believe in you. It goes back to in August, you're going to have those healthy boundaries in place. maybe the boundaries are Ken is done working at this time every night, and then you could meditate. Just saying, just throwing it out there. All right. And then in November, risk. And the risk card is interesting because you can see there are three paths and the arrows are pointing on each path, and there are no bars of restriction. There's no, none of the paths look dangerous, but you have to choose. You have to take that risk. This card always reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune in a tarot deck. It's like you're at the crossroads, but you need to decide which direction you're going to go next. And you have free will, so you decide. But the comforting thing about this risk card is that none of the paths are dangerous. So take that. This is kind of that fool. Take that leap of faith, Ken. So to me, that means in November, there's going to be opportunities for you to choose different directions, and you just need to pick one.
Okay.
All right. And then December, dun, dun, dun. Oh, you had the deer in June. Now you have the stag, which is the leadership. So in December, you're going to be stepping into more of a leadership position at something that you're working on. This says pride and leadership, and he has the beautiful horns up there and everything. So to me, when I see leadership cards in the year ahead readings, it's an opportunity. So if an opportunity comes up your way where you're stepping into more of a leadership role, this card is telling you, say yes, the energy is right for that. That makes sense?
I think so.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Before we get to the a mantra, something that I want to mention is that this might sound like Lisa's giving you homework for each month, but what it is really, and please correct me if I'm wrong, what it is that this is the energy for that month. This is suggestions from the universe on where to put your energy. It's not it's not homework. It's not, oh God, I've got to come up with I've got a decision to make on different paths. And so I got to figure out now what those paths are going to be, because my understanding, my interpretation is that this will be more or less presented to me, that I have these options, and it's up to me to figure it out. But that's what the energy of that month is, and that's what the energy of all of these months that you have mentioned, all these cards. That's what the energy of those months is. That is not a big thing of homework for Ken.
no, it's all it is potential. These are the energy of the month and the potential. And you always have free will. So you get to decide. If you decide, no way, I'm not making any choices, that's your prerogative. But the energy of that month is let's go. And if you decide to, deny that, you certainly can. But what opportunities are you missing in doing that? Right? So those are
Yes.
the things you have to think about.
There's a great line in a Rush song that says, even if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Oh, true, true. And looking over your year, because I like to look over the grid and see if I see themes or anything. But I think that you're going to have a gentle, easy year for the most part. This deck has cards that are more difficult of things to deal with, but you're going to have a nice, gentle year. But I do think that it could be transformational if you make those boundaries. And it's no coincidence that you got the cat with the boundaries in August, because that's when Ken starts getting really busy with his online radio station. So if you really do put some boundaries in place that will protect you, your physical so that you can still get up and move around, or spiritual so that you can meditate, if you set those good boundaries, I think it's going to make the end of your year really amazing. So, but
Okay.
that's all I see from the grid. You don't have anything scary. It's going to be a great year, no big challenges. But I think you have the potential to make it something really special if you set boundaries in August.
So from those 12 cards,
Mm-hmm.
which one or ones do you think are represent the winning the Powerball?
Uh, well, if it was Powerball, it could be February when you have joy. It could be April when you have the cow in abundance, and it could be May when you're the magical Merlin.
Oh, I was
So,
figuring it was this month with the transformation that I would be transforming into a multimillionaire.
well, I feel like the butterfly is
I'm
more you
kidding. I'm
deciding what you
kidding.
want to transform into. It's not being thrust upon you.
I'm kidding about all of this. Whenever, um, not whenever, but many times when I do readings, and I'm sure this happens for you too, they want the Powerball numbers or the Mega Millions numbers or whatever lottery numbers. And and I know it doesn't work like that. If it did,
No,
everybody who did readings would be very wealthy.
right, right.
And there
Yeah,
aren't many that are.
doesn't work like that.
No.
You think about the everybody has free will, and so many people want to win the lottery that how do you just, that's to me, that's why we can't get the lottery numbers is because there's too many people who also want that same thing. And so anyway, we don't get to decide, everyone else gets to lose. So let me take a picture of these and then we'll get your mantra. All right. Let me double check that we can read all the words. Yes, we can. Okay. So let me put these away and we will get your mantra for the year.
So what is the purpose of the mantra?
Um, for me, because I do them for myself too, I mean, it's probably different for everyone, but for me, having the 12 months of the year is like a really narrow view. It's like, here we go. Here is April. Whereas your mantra is kind of like a theme for your whole year. And for instance, I had one client that um, when we got to her mantra, it was the Empress, and the Empress is long-term manifestation. So she's almost always pregnant in the cards, and I was talking about it, and she kind of looks at me and says, "Well, we have been trying to get pregnant, and we haven't been able to have a baby, and maybe we won't get to." And I felt like, oh, I bet this is the year. And you know what? It was the year. She did get pregnant that year. So I just feel like, whereas in her months, there wasn't a certain mantra, I mean, a certain card in her month that said, oh, you're pregnant. But having the overall theme be the Empress made me think, oh, there's going to be a baby, and they did get pregnant by the end of the year, so that was exciting. So really, your mantra is kind of, I guess, a higher perspective because each of the months is very focused on only that month. Whereas your mantra gives you more of a long-term view of potential for your year. That makes sense. All right. Are you ready?
As ready as I'm gonna be.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, you got the four of water. And water represents cups, it's your emotions. And the four is usually comparison is the thief of joy, that you need to keep your eyes on your own paper and be grateful for all of your things instead of looking what everyone else has. But the good tarot makes everything gentle. So let's just see what your mantra is. A lull in the action offers a chance for me to dream even bigger than before. Whenever plans turn out to not come to fruition as expected, I feel secure knowing that even greater things await me. The universe conspires on my behalf, and disappointment and sadness will wash through me if I let them flow. Keep your eyes on your own paper, and you won't have that sadness. Okay, that was mine, not the mantra, does not say that. All right. I trust that spirit has many ways of responding to my desires, and what I seek can take a variety of forms. I have faith in perfect timing and divine order. And so to me, that's telling me that, some years you get like, for instance, backstory for people who are listening, but when we got this house, that particular year, the deck that I used was the Hidden Realms. And the card that I got for March of that year was the Diamond Dreamer, which is material abundance. And we, that year, at the beginning of the year, I told Ken, I think we should maybe start looking at places. And so in February, we went to an open house. And then suddenly in March, we bought a place and we were moving. And when I opened up my year ahead and I saw that Diamond Dreamer, I opened up the book and saw that it said, if you want a house, you will manifest it. And I was like, whoa. So anyway, that particular year had big cards like that. So I expected it to be a big shifting, big things. Like last year I had that tower card and my daughter got married and all these big turning points happen. But your year that we just read, I just told you that it looks like it will be gentle. And this mantra is very gentle about your dreams and that there may be a lull in action, but I know that things are coming and I have faith in perfect timing and divine order. And to me, if you figure out what you want that year to look like, this is telling you that it will all happen, but it will happen in divine timing, which is for your highest good. It may not happen as fast as Ken wants it to. It's telling you, don't get frustrated. Don't look and go, but that guy, you just keep walking your path. So this mantra to me goes really well with that gentle kind of year that I saw in your grid. So I think that if you read this mantra, it will remind you that it is all unfolding for my highest good, so that you
This
don't feel discouraged.
this reminds me of the grass is always greener card,
Yes.
which I interpret as the Beach Boys song, Wouldn't It Be Nice?
Yes.
Um, and I think about that often. And for those who don't know, wouldn't it be nice if we were older? And the whole song is about wouldn't it be nice if we were this and that. And the thing is that when you when you do that to yourself, when you live like that, you don't really appreciate where you are, what you have, and you get this idealistic look at what you think how wonderful everything would be if you had X or if you got to do Y or whatever. And when you get to do those things, often they're not there's things about them that you didn't know until you're
Right.
there. Wouldn't it be great if we were older? Yeah, but you have job responsibilities and bills and there's so much, and I'm not saying that being older is a terrible thing, but there's lots more to it than just um not having to wait so long, as the
Yeah.
Beach
Well,
Boys
and
say.
the other thing is, if you're so busy looking at what everybody else has and going, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? You're totally missing that you have so many blessings and you're missing all this joy and you're putting it off until later when I have these things, and you're missing out on half your life. So I feel like this is a nice gentle mantra to go with your gentle year to remind you to, figure out what you want and then be kind to yourself as you walk that path to get there.
Well, I can certainly give it a try.
Come on, Virgo, you can do it.
I can do it when it all gets in the right order.
That's
Um,
right.
but uh, but I get it, and I'll get it even more once you send me the pictures
Yeah,
so
I'm
that
gonna
I
send
can.
you the pictures and and you know where to find me. So if you have questions, you can always ask.
I always do. How how can people who don't live in our house find you?
I'm online everywhere, and I'm sure in the show notes you'll put the link to get on the schedule for year ahead readings. The spots sold out in December. There are still spots in January. And it's usually like a 30-minute reading, like we just did, and you will get the picture of your grid, your months, and also your mantra for the year. And it's a really great, I have people who have come back every year. Some people I only see once a year for their year ahead readings. So that's so fun to see how their year unfolded. But the readings are accurate enough that people do come back every year. And I think it's a really helpful, just a little map so that you have some focus to make it your best year. So,
I had thought about taking a look at my grid from last year with you and putting you on the spot. Oh yeah? Well, what did this have to do with January? Oh yeah? What did this have to
that is
And
very
I think
Virgo of you, Ken.
and I beg your pardon?
That's very Virgo of you, Ken.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that sort of misses the point because like I had said and like you said, I think that it's the energy of those months. It's not telling your fortune. It's not telling you
Right.
that, watch out on the third week of this month because something heavy is going to fall on you. That's not
Exactly. That's not the purpose. The purpose
right.
is to give you focus for each month. And if you choose to or not, you're also changing the path. So, so they're not so much of, like you said, fortune telling of this is
Right.
what's going to happen on this date. It's more about potential of what you could do. I like to think that tarot cards don't tell the future, they facilitate the future. They give you a focus so that you can make it your best.
And an easy example is that for the month of February, my card was joy.
Mhm.
That does not mean that when the calendar turns to February, every minute of every day of that month is just going to be joy, 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 joy. That's the energy of the month, and it's up to me to look for and find that.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't mean that I'm just going to wake up so happy on February 1st and every moment of every day of that month is just, oh, what a joy this is. I
But
am
I will be
I am
all kinds
stuck
of
in
fun things.
traffic again. What a joy.
But I bet there will be fun things that you weren't expecting. But yeah, it's more about that you wake up every day and you go, you know what? I'm going to choose joy today.
Yeah. And by the same token, I could look at last year's grid and I could, and I don't have it open right in front of me, which is shame on me for not being prepared. Don't tell the Virgo Council. Um, but I could look at if I had the joy card for a month last year, and if that particular month had been a lousy month, that things had gone wrong, and I don't think that that was the case at all last year, which I'm very fortunate in that.
Grateful.
But I, it doesn't mean that you have no work to do. It doesn't mean that I it I don't want to keep saying the same thing over, but that's the energy of the month. So you have free will. You can decide. And I know that sounds a little bit like a crock if something horrible happens, and I hope nothing horrible happens to anybody. But if something bad happens, I'm it's not that all the cards were wrong. It's just, bad things happen. But for the energy of the month,
Right.
it's your choice. And I'm not suggesting that you find joy in some tragedy that befalls you. I hope that no tragedy befalls you. I might just edit this whole thing out because I don't want to sound like I'm suggesting that something
You've
awful is going
gone
to
down a
happen.
dark path, Ken.
Yeah, that something awful is going to happen to you and you should be happy about it. That's not what I'm saying. But that's what the energy of February is for me. And
Mhm.
that'll be the energy of each of the months for you when you get this reading from Lisa. And it's, it's up to you. And we don't like that. We don't like that it's up to us a lot of the time. We want it to be, this is what's going to happen. Oh, look, I got the Powerball card. So I'm set. Thank you. Um, it's up to you.
But
And
going back to that year we got the house and I had that card, part of what made me go, I think this year we should start looking for a house. I had not looked in the book. I just knew that month was material abundance, but I I think because I saw those cards on the grid that I thought, okay, so there is going to be money, and this should be the year that we stop renting, and in Florida anyway, and and then it did because I had that inkling from the reading and I have free will and chose that that would happen. So it's not like the cards were telling me the future that I was going to get a house, but it did show me that there's potential and I took it from there. And to me that is the beauty of a year ahead reading is just having the energy of what's coming and going like I looked at your grid and I'm like, you're going to have a gentle year, Ken. That's nice. Every year cannot be, I'm getting a house, I mean,
right.
really, and having a gentle year is a gift.
Yes,
But
it is.
being able to see that in a grid of your cards to me is like having a little pocket map guide in your pocket. It's not telling you that this has to happen this way, but it's telling you that it could. And then we have free will and we decide.
I don't remember what my cards were for that year. It should have been a shut up and listen to your wife card because I didn't want to look for a house. I didn't want to go through the process of buying a house. It's very tedious
It's
and
stressful, very stressful.
very stressful. And I just didn't want to deal with that. I don't think that I don't remember what my cards were. So I don't know how that went along with
Yeah, I
with
don't
that. But
remember.
I did pull up my cards from last year so I can redeem some of my Virgo points. And for December,
Mhm.
which we just finished, my card was Dream Thief, Refusal of the Call. And when I saw that, and it's a somewhat scary looking picture,
Yeah, it has a monkey on it.
yeah, with wings.
Yeah.
Um, and I was a little concerned. And when you told me what it meant, as the month unfolded, it made much more sense. What does the Dream Thief card mean?
That particular deck, that is the Shaman's Dream deck. And in that deck, the Dream Thief is the refusal of the call. It's we have free will, and a good opportunity is going to come your way. And the Dream Thief is fear. It's you deciding that, no, I'm not going to do that. Even though this opportunity comes to you, you're like, no. So it's warning you. That card is about that, don't let fear be the thief of your dreams. Don't refuse the call when it comes. Say yes. And you had for the whole year, you had the fool, which is take that leap of faith. Say yes. So the cards were telling you in December, you might have had a moment where you were like, I don't know. And that card is telling you, oh, don't let fear hold you back. Say yes.
Yeah, and I can tell you that a a pretty significant opportunity came my way in December. And on the one hand, it looked like a good thing. The money was desirable,
Yes.
and it was almost the exact amount that I had previously mentioned to Lisa that, if I could figure out a way to get this much more, we would be in really good shape. And then this came up,
It was
and
almost the exact amount.
almost exactly the amount, except that I had this sort of refusal of the call reaction to it that I don't know. That might be a lot of work. I don't know. I
Well,
just
and it came in December when you are so busy with your
yes,
Christmas station. So it would have been so much easier to just go, nah, I don't have time.
I don't have time for that. And instead, I thought about it when I had time to think about it, and I thought, it is a really good opportunity, and it will be an interesting challenge, um, doing something that I already do, and also parts of it are something that I haven't done before. So it will be a challenge, and I'm not intentionally being cryptic about it, but I am. But I just
But it's
it
an
it
opportunity to
was
grow, and you may
yeah.
have passed it up had you not had that card where you were like, oh,
I was very close to pulling the plug on it and just, what, I'm not going to do it. My plate is full, and I don't have the time, and I don't want the stress and aggravation, and all I could think of were all the negative things that may or may not even be attached to this.
right.
But I was just deciding that no, I'm not going to do this. And in part it was, I'm sure it was lack of sleep, because by December
You're,
I
yeah.
have been working a lot on the Christmas station, and I've been very busy almost around the clock. So I may not have been in the best frame of mind to be considering this, but I I just I just decided, it's the card says refusal of the call. I didn't want I
Refuse.
yeah. And you know, one of the things that I have mentioned before on this podcast is that a lot of times the decisions we make, we build them up to being so monumental, and really it doesn't have to be for the rest of your life.
Right.
And this particular thing doesn't necessarily have to be for the rest of my life, so I can go into it as positively as I can, and I can try and make it happen and give them what they want and get what I want.
Mhm.
And if it works, great, and if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world, and it's not forever. And I have mentioned that before to others who are looking for a job and they can't find the perfect job that they want. And I tell them, stick with what you have if you can, if it's not horribly uh, unendurable, if that's the word. But I think you know what I mean. And remember that you're doing that job that you don't want makes it possible for you to look for the one that you do want. And if you find something that's almost what you want, but it's not exactly what you want, you don't have to stay at that job forever, but it will keep the lights on and keep food in the fridge and make it possible when you're not at that job to pursue what it is that you really want. And I know that people have asked about moving is a big one, that they want a new start and they want to go somewhere. But what if it's not what I want? Then move again. Moving sucks. Everybody knows moving sucks. But move to where you if you want a fresh start somewhere else, go there and give it a chance. Give it a chance, and you don't have to stay there forever. And I'll get off my soapbox now.
But the short version is that Ken was leaning toward rejecting the call, and then his year ahead reading showed him, huh, maybe that's just fear talking. Maybe I should just say yes. And so it may have changed his life. So that's the beauty
Could
of
be.
your readings from my perspective.
Yeah, it could. And that combined with the mantra card, the Fool,
Hmm.
was the leap of faith. So those cards didn't tell me what to do, but that was the energy.
Right.
So I sort of got in the flow of that,
Hmm.
I suppose. So so anyhow, I will put a link down in the show notes to Lisa's website and to also a link to get on her calendar directly, get on her calendar for the year ahead readings because they fill up fast. I don't know how many you have left for January or how many you will have left by the time this is actually out there. This episode, I mean. Um, but if you want to find out more, you just click on that and and you'll find out more. And that's really it. Lisa, thank you for coming on and doing this.
Thank you for having me. And I'm glad you're going to have a good year, Ken.
I'm glad I'm going to have a good year too. And I hope everybody listening has a great year. I'm
Yes.
sorry that Psychic Tapestry has been away for a while. We'll get an update, hopefully, an update from Tony before too long. She's doing fine, by the way. And and I'm looking forward uh, to returning to Psychic Tapestry and keeping this going. And we'll figure out a schedule and all of that stuff. But in the meantime, thank you for listening and for sticking with us. And until next time, remember to tell those close to you that you love them. And we'll talk again soon.